1. A sense of urgency creates a sense of destiny. When you behave as if you have only 24 hours to change your financial life, you awaken the part of your mind that refuses excuses and demands results. 2. Your riches begin in the mind before they appear in the world. Wealth is built twice, first in thought, then in reality. You must think with clarity, purpose, and absolute conviction before riches manifest around you. 3. Imagination is the highest currency. Those who build extraordinary fortunes do so because they envision what others cannot see. Imagination fuels every breakthrough, every opportunity, every leap forward. 4. Decisiveness is the mark of all wealth builders. The wealthy do not hesitate when opportunity passes. They choose, act, adjust, and advance. Indecision is poverty in disguise. 5. The mastery of habit creates the mastery of wealth. Your daily actions either prepare you for abundance or chain you to limitation. Riches respond to discipline, consistency, and deliberate movement. 6. Faith in your own power is the foundation of all riches. Until you believe deeply, unshakably, that you are destined for wealth, the world will withhold it. Faith magnetizes the resources, people, and ideas you need. Imagine waking up today with a message written across your life. You have 24 hours to become extremely rich, not as a warning, not as a fantasy, but as a demand from destiny itself, a challenge from the universe that asks, what are you capable of if everything you want must begin today? Most people drift through their days believing they have time, endless time, to pursue their dreams, time to build wealth, time to correct their failures. But those who achieve extraordinary success understand a profound truth. Your life changes when you stop giving yourself permission to wait. This is why you must stay with me until the last word of this speech, because before it ends, you will learn how to awaken the unstoppable force inside you, the force that appears when you behave as if the clock is running out. When you act like you have 24 hours to become extremely rich, you eliminate hesitation, remove fear, and unlock a power within yourself that most people never tap into in an entire lifetime. And if you allow me to guide you step by step through these principles, you will not only understand the mindset of wealth, you will feel it ignite within you. So listen closely. The next few moments may determine the future of your success. A sense of urgency creates a sense of destiny. When you act as though you have only 24 hours to transform your financial destiny, something powerful awakens inside you, a force that refuses excuses, rejects hesitation, and demands immediate action. Most individuals drift through life waiting for the right time, the perfect moment, or the ideal opportunity. But urgency destroys these illusions. Urgency exposes the truth. Your opportunity is now, your power is now, your future is shaped now. There is something life-altering about believing the clock is against you. Suddenly you stop negotiating with your limitations. You stop entertaining mediocrity. You begin to see that every second is a seed, every decision is an investment, every action is a step toward a future that was waiting for you to claim it. When you operate with urgency, your mind sharpens. Ideas appear with greater clarity. You no longer pursue comfort, you pursue purpose. You no longer avoid challenges, you confront them with intensity, and the very energy you release begins to attract people, resources, and opportunities that were previously hidden from you. Urgency is a catalyst. It awakens courage, it awakens desire, it awakens the hunger to transform your financial life, not tomorrow, not someday, but today. This is why the most successful people on earth act quickly. They know that waiting is the assassin of opportunity. They know that hesitation is the companion of poverty. They know that wealth is a reward reserved for those who dare to move while others sleep. You must create within your mind the feeling that time is running out, not because you are afraid, but because you are ready. When you live with urgency, you tap into a reservoir of strength that remains dormant in the average person. You begin to operate on a higher frequency, a higher vibration, a higher state of thought and action. Imagine this very moment is the turning point of your life. Imagine that everything you desire, financial freedom, abundance, security, opportunity, begins the moment you decide to behave as if you have no time to waste. That level of intensity reshapes your habits, strengthens your decisions, and transforms your character. And when your character changes, your results must change. Urgency does not mean recklessness. It means clarity. It means purpose. It means recognizing that every day you delay your dreams, someone else builds theirs. Every hour you waste, someone gains an advantage. Every moment you postpone your greatness, the world continues as if your potential does not exist. So create urgency within yourself. Tell your mind that you have 24 hours to begin the journey toward wealth. Do not wait to be ready. Do not wait for approval. Do not wait for certainty. Move now, because the moment you act with urgency, destiny begins to respond. When you act as if you have only 24 hours to become extremely rich, you summon a force within yourself that remains asleep in most people for their entire lifetime. Urgency is not pressure. Urgency is awakening. It is the spark that sets your dormant potential on fire. The moment you tell your mind that time is no longer abundant, everything inside you sharpens, your focus, your decisions, your desires, your clarity. You begin to see that the world does not reward the person who waits. It rewards the person who moves. And when you create the mindset that your wealth must begin today, not tomorrow, not next year, but this very moment, you activate the part of your spirit that refuses to negotiate with excuses. Suddenly, the obstacles that once looked large become insignificant because urgency forces you to see solutions instead of problems. With only 24 hours on the imaginary clock, there is no room for doubt, no room for hesitation, no room for self-pity. You no longer ask, "Can I do this?" You ask, "What must I do this very second to advance?" That shift alone separates those who dream from those who build. Urgency creates courage. It forces boldness. It demands action. It pushes you to take the steps you have been avoiding for months or even years. The business idea you kept delaying suddenly becomes a priority. The skill you thought you'd learn someday becomes something you must master now. The fear that once held you back becomes irrelevant because urgency makes fear look small. When you tell yourself you must begin within the next 24 hours, you stop waiting for confidence to appear. You act your way into confidence. You move your way into self-belief. You build your way into strength. Urgency transforms you because it forces you to do what most people never do. It forces you to start. But urgency also clears your mind. When you believe time is limited, your thoughts stop wandering. You stop chasing distractions. You stop giving your energy to people and habits that do not serve your future. Instead, you begin to focus only on what produces growth. You identify what matters, and you cut away everything that does not. This is one of the most powerful mental transformations any human can experience. Because the truth is, you are not short of time. You are short of direction. And urgency gives you direction instantly. When you treat wealth like a mission that must begin today, your mind becomes disciplined without force. Discipline feels natural. Productivity becomes instinctive, and every action, even the small ones, begins to compound. The greatest advantage of urgency is that it builds momentum. Once you start moving with purpose, the universe responds with opportunity. People appear, ideas emerge, energy rises, confidence strengthens. Momentum is a gift given only to those who begin. Wealth does not come to the person who waits patiently. It comes to the person who moves relentlessly. When you act like you have 24 hours to initiate your rise to riches, you ignite momentum that carries you further than motivation ever could. Urgency is the birthplace of breakthroughs. It is the foundation of every fortune. It is the mindset that transforms a wish into a plan into action, and action into results that can rewrite your entire financial destiny. When you understand that every great fortune begins in the mind long before it appears in the world, you unlock a truth that has elevated ordinary individuals into extraordinary achievers. Wealth is not something you stumble into. It is something you first construct in your imagination with absolute precision and unwavering belief. Every idea, every goal, every breakthrough that has ever produced abundance started as a thought, an invisible seed planted in the fertile soil of the human mind. The moment you accept that your thoughts are the architects of your destiny, you stop treating them casually. You begin to choose them deliberately. You begin to shape them with intention. You begin to feed your mind the images of the life you desire instead of the life you fear. Your mind becomes the workshop where your success is crafted. And when you act like you have only 24 hours to become extremely rich, you can no longer allow your mind to wander aimlessly because you recognize that every thought is either building your future or delaying it. The mind is the first factory of wealth. Before any business is created, before any opportunity is seized, before any fortune is accumulated, there is a vision behind it, a picture in someone's imagination, a blueprint that only the Creator could see. The world cannot give you what you have not first given yourself mentally. If you do not see abundance within yourself, you will never hold it in your hands. If you do not believe in your own ability to elevate your financial destiny, no strategy, no tactic, no guidance can help you. Wealth responds to certainty, and certainty is born in the mind. When your thoughts become disciplined, powerful, and directed, your actions will follow with natural confidence. When your mind becomes focused on prosperity, your decisions begin aligning with opportunity rather than limitation. You begin to see pathways others miss. You begin to sense possibilities others are blind to. You begin to feel pulled forward by a vision so strong that failure cannot break it. Acting like you have 24 hours creates an intensity that forces you to think differently. You no longer allow random thoughts to dictate your direction. You consciously replace doubt with determination, fear with faith, and confusion with clarity. You begin to imagine with deeper detail and stronger emotion, and that emotion, combined with imagination, is the magnet that attracts ideas, people, and resources into your life. The richest minds are not the ones filled with luck. They are the ones filled with a vision so vivid it becomes impossible to ignore. When you think like this, you no longer seek motivation, you generate it. You no longer chase opportunities, you create them. You no longer wait for the right moment. Your mind makes every moment the right one. The world eventually bends to the mind that refuses to bend to adversity. Your inner world is the blueprint for your outer world. When you master your thoughts, you master your financial life. When you design your mind with purpose, you design your future with abundance. And when you act like the time is short, your thoughts become sharper, stronger, and more powerful than ever before, pulling you toward the riches that begin first within you. When you realize that imagination is the highest form of currency, you unlock the very force that has built empires, reshaped industries, and lifted individuals from obscurity into greatness. Everything that exists in your world today, every invention, every fortune, every opportunity, began first as an idea in someone's mind, conceived long before the world could see it.
Imagination is not a child's fantasy. It is the workshop of creation. It is the silent architect behind every success story.
When you act like you have 24 hours to become extremely rich, your imagination comes alive with an intensity that ordinary thinking cannot generate. You begin to visualize possibilities with a clarity that turns dreams into blueprints and visions into step-by-step strategies. The urgency forces your imagination to expand, to stretch, to reach beyond what you thought possible. Because there is no time left to think small, you begin to ask, not what can I do someday, but what can I create now with what I have, where I am? That question alone can change the entire direction of your life. Imagination is the power that separates the wealthy from the ordinary. Those who never use it remain trapped in the limitations of the present moment, believing they must wait for circumstances to improve before they move. But those who master imagination create the circumstances they need. They build mental pictures of the life they desire so vividly that their mind begins to accept them as inevitable. And once the mind accepts a vision as truth, it begins working relentlessly to bring it into reality. It attracts ideas, it sharpens perception, it reveals opportunities, it strengthens courage, and it draws forward the exact conditions needed for that vision to manifest. Your imagination is not fantasy, it is guidance. It shows you the future you are capable of creating long before your hands begin building it. When you behave as if the clock is ticking, your imagination has no choice but to work at its highest level. You stop indulging in ordinary thinking because ordinary thinking cannot produce extraordinary wealth. You begin to imagine businesses you can build, skills you can master, relationships you can form, and value you can offer. You begin to construct images of abundance, freedom, and success so strong that they dominate your mind. And the mind, in turn, begins shaping your behavior according to the vision you hold. You talk differently, you walk differently, you decide differently, you act with purpose because you can see in your imagination where you are heading. Every transformation begins in the invisible realm of thought. The world may not yet see your potential, but your imagination sees it clearly. The people around you may not understand your urgency, but your imagination whispers that you are meant for more. When you imagine with boldness, you give your mind permission to escape the limits of your past and explore the possibilities of your future. That alone can alter the entire direction of your financial destiny. For the person who commands their imagination commands their future, and the one who combines imagination with urgency becomes unstoppable in their pursuit of wealth. When you understand that decisiveness is the mark of all wealth builders, you begin to see why so many people dream of riches, but so few ever attain them. The world does not reward hesitation, it rewards the individual who can choose with clarity and act with conviction. Every great fortune has a moment where its creator made a decision that others were too afraid, too uncertain, or too slow to make. Decisiveness is not merely choosing, it is choosing quickly, wisely, and with the full force of your commitment behind it. When you act like you have only 24 hours to become extremely rich, indecision becomes impossible. You no longer have the luxury of waiting for guarantees, approvals, or perfect timing. You begin to understand that the longer you hesitate, the further opportunity moves away from you. The person who waits for certainty spends their life watching others seize the moments they were too afraid to take. Decisiveness creates momentum. The moment you choose a direction, your mind becomes aligned, your actions become aligned, and your energy becomes aligned. You stop scattering your focus between possibilities and commit to one path long enough for success to grow roots. Most people fail not because they lack talent or potential, but because they never stay with a decision long enough to see its reward. They drift from one idea to another, constantly starting and restarting, never giving themselves the chance to build momentum. But when you decide with urgency, you cut through the confusion, you remove the noise, you eliminate the inner conflict that steals your time and drains your strength. A mind that decides is a mind that is free. The wealthy understand that a delayed decision is often worse than a wrong decision because every delay costs you opportunities you cannot get back. When you behave as if you have one day to shift your financial destiny, you begin making choices that match your ambition. You speak with authority. You pursue opportunities without hesitation. You evaluate risks not with fear but with wisdom. You understand that riches come to those who act while others think, who move while others doubt, who commit while others negotiate with their excuses. You begin to trust your judgment. You begin to refine your intuition. And every decision you make strengthens your confidence in your ability to shape your own future. Decisiveness also reveals your character to the world. People follow those who can choose. They believe in those who move. They respect those who act. When you decide with strength and stand by your choices, you attract partners, mentors, and allies who recognize that your word has weight. The universe rewards the decisive with opportunities that remain invisible to the uncertain. Life begins to open doors for you because you have shown through action that you are ready. A person's financial destiny changes the moment they stop asking what if and start declaring, this is what I will do. When you claim a direction, commit to it, and move with urgency, the path becomes clearer with every step. Riches are not the result of endless contemplation. They are the result of courageous decisions taken repeatedly until success has no choice but to appear. When you recognize that the mastery of habit is the mastery of wealth, you begin to understand why success is never an accident, but a daily construction. Your life at this very moment is the sum of the habits you have repeated, consciously or unconsciously, for years. And when you act like you have only 24 hours to become extremely rich, you suddenly see that your habits are either moving you toward prosperity or quietly pulling you away from it. Wealth is not created in dramatic bursts of effort. It is built through consistent, disciplined actions that compound over time. The small choices you make each day, how you use your time, what you think about, what you learn, what you avoid, what you pursue, are the building blocks of your financial destiny. Every habit is a vote for the person you are becoming. And when you vote for the right habits repeatedly, you shape a future that becomes increasingly difficult to stop. The wealthy do not rely on motivation, they rely on structure. They build routines that make progress automatic, focus natural, and growth inevitable. They create habits that support their goals so they never depend on willpower alone. They understand that when your habits are strong, your success becomes easier because your daily actions carry you even on the days you feel tired, uncertain, or discouraged. This is the secret advantage of those who rise to riches. They design systems that keep them moving forward no matter what challenges appear. Success is not about intensity, it is about consistency. A single powerful day cannot compete with a year of disciplined days, and when you behave as if time is running out, you begin valuing consistency more than comfort. Urgency forces you to examine your habits with honesty. You no longer tolerate the routines that waste your time, weaken your mind, or drain your energy. You begin to replace comfort with purpose, distraction with discipline, entertainment with education. You start shaping your environment to support your ambition rather than sabotage it. You remove the people who drain you, eliminate the habits that delay you, and reinforce the behaviors that elevate you. You understand that wealth is not something you chase, it is something you become. And you become it through the habits that form your identity. Every great achievement begins with the decision to act differently today than you did yesterday. When you commit to habits that align with success, the future unfolds in your favor with surprising speed. You read more, think more, plan more, execute more. You take small actions that compound into extraordinary results. You become the kind of person who attracts opportunity because your habits have shaped you into someone who is prepared to seize it. The world responds differently to you because you move differently, speak differently, and work differently. Habits are the silent creators of destiny. They are the invisible forces that either hold you in place or propel you forward. When you combine urgency with disciplined habits, you create unstoppable momentum. You become a person who expects success, who works for success, and who inevitably receives success. Wealth becomes not a distant hope, but the natural outcome of the person you have trained yourself to become. When you finally understand that faith in your own power is the foundation of all riches, you awaken the one force that can carry you through every obstacle, every setback, and every moment of uncertainty on your path to wealth. Faith is not blind hope, it is the inner certainty that your mind, your effort, your discipline, and your vision are capable of creating the life you desire. It is the belief that what you seek is already seeking you, and that the potential for extraordinary success already exists within you, waiting only for your permission to rise. When you act like you have only 24 hours to become extremely rich, your faith can no longer remain weak or passive. Urgency forces you to stop doubting yourself and to start believing in the power you have been ignoring. It pushes you to stop waiting for reassurance and to start trusting that the same strength that has elevated others can elevate you as well. Faith becomes your inner command, the voice that says, move now, create now, act now, even when the path is unclear. Faith is the invisible engine behind every great accomplishment. It is what allows a person to take the first step before seeing the entire staircase. It is what pushes individuals to act when others are frozen by fear. It is what transforms a simple thought into an unstoppable mission. Without faith, every challenge feels final, every failure feels fatal, and every setback feels like a sign to quit. But with faith, obstacles shrink, struggles become lessons, and setbacks become stepping stones that redirect you toward a greater opportunity. When you believe deeply in your ability to create wealth, your mind begins filtering the world differently. You start noticing chances you once overlooked. You begin feeling empowered in situations where you used to feel stuck. Your decisions become bolder, your actions become faster, and your persistence becomes unshakable. Acting like time is running out intensifies your faith because it forces you to rely on your inner strength rather than external validation. You stop begging the world for approval. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop depending on signs to confirm your potential. Instead, you begin to trust yourself enough to step into the unknown and create your own conditions. Faith gives you the courage to start the business others say is impossible, to pursue the skill others believe is too difficult, to open the door others are too afraid to knock on. It gives you the emotional resilience that wealth creation requires, because true riches are not built in a straight line. They are built through seasons of growth, seasons of correction, seasons of uncertainty, and seasons of breakthrough. Only faith allows you to continue moving when the outcome is not yet visible. Faith in yourself is the greatest wealth you can ever possess, because all external riches are born from internal belief. When you believe you are capable, you work with greater discipline. When you believe you are worthy, you attract greater opportunities. When you believe you are destined for wealth, you begin acting like a person who will not be denied, and life eventually yields to the individual who refuses to doubt their power. The truth revealed through these principles is simple. Wealth is not something you wait for. It is something you step toward with urgency, clarity, imagination, decisive action, disciplined habits, and unshakable faith. When you act like you have 24 hours to become extremely rich, you stop living as a spectator in your own life and you begin living as the creator of your destiny. You awaken the thoughts that build fortune. You ignite the imagination that reveals unseen possibilities. You strengthen the decisiveness that moves you forward. You reinforce the habits that shape your identity, and you elevate the faith that carries you through every challenge with unwavering certainty. This transformation does not require time. It requires intention. It requires the willingness to begin now, to move now, to choose now, to claim now the future you have delayed for far too long. You were not meant to live a life of hesitation or limitation. You were designed with the power to create, the mind to envision, and the will to rise above every circumstance placed before you. The moment you stop negotiating with your fears and start listening to the voice of your potential, your life begins to shift. The door to wealth does not open for those who wait. It opens for those who knock with confidence and step through with purpose. Every second you delay is a second you give away. Every moment you waste is a moment you could have used to build the life you dream of living. But the moment you begin, truly begin, life responds in ways that will astonish you. So as this message comes to a close, remember this: your transformation does not start tomorrow. It does not start when you feel ready. It starts the moment you choose to act. Time will not wait for you. Opportunities will not pause for you, and your future will not build itself without you. But you have the power right now to claim the life you desire. The clock is ticking, not to pressure you, but to awaken you. Your 24 hours begin the moment you decide they do. And when you choose to live with that urgency, that purpose, and that belief, nothing in this world can stop the wealth, the success, and the greatness that are already waiting for you.